Sales is the most lucrative skill in the world, period. The problem is most sales advice out there today is outdated, cheesy, and could even keep you from the deals that can make all the difference in your career. This is the No BS Sales School, a podcast for entrepreneurs and salespeople who want to master the skill of selling without all the BS. Welcome to the No BS Sales School podcast. I'm your host, Walker McKay. Was reminded today of a story, something that happened to me about 25 years ago that still is embarrassing, that I still think may have some value in telling a story because maybe I could save you from making the same mistake I did. I was in the commercial real estate business back when I think that's where most of my brain damage came from. But I was just getting started out. God, it's probably longer than 25 years ago. And I'd gotten a listing on this warehouse way out in the middle of freaking nowhere. Out in, if you know anything about Columbia, South Carolina, it's out in the Red Bank area, way before Red Bank was cool. It was all sand and fire ants and trailers back then. Oh, and one warehouse that a contractor did business in. And this guy wanted to sell it, been there long enough. And gotta be honest, I was pretty new in business. I'm not even sure I knew what a contractor was. But I figured out, right, there are people that built things and did all kinds of stuff like that. So this guy, I listed the building, and then I was like, well, shit, what am I going to do? How am I going to sell this thing? So I did only thing I needed to, which was to go grab what we called, this is way before Outboard invented the internet, we grabbed the crisscross directory, which had a list of all, you could look up any business by SIC code and give you the list, literally name, phone number, call. So I grabbed that directory and I said, I'm going to start calling contractors, because if one contractor, if there's a certain user for a type building that worked, chances are somebody else just like them would want to do the same thing. So that was my logic at the time. So I picked up the phone and I started calling people. And I started AAA contractors, and I just started working through the list to go sell this building. And I get to Belton Plumbing. And I called Belton Plumbing, and the guy answers the phone. I said, John. He said, yeah. I said, this is Walker McKay. I've got a building I'd like to show you out in Red Bank. It's for sale. And he said, great. When you want to go look? I was like, holy shit, he wants to go look. And so we met about, 10 miles from my office, 20 miles from his, about 5 miles from where we're going. And I said, you want to ride with me, or we ride you? He's got his truck with him. He said, hell, come ride with me. So I get in the truck, and we start riding up the road, and I'm talking about the building, and I've got a little sales flyer we made up, and I handed him the flyer, and he kind of looks at it, and he says, how's the plumbing out there? I said, well, plumbing's great. He said, why'd you call me? I'm like, because I thought you wanted to buy this building. He goes, shit, no. Why would I want to buy a building? Way the hell out here. Have you lost your mind? So all of a sudden, he's pissed off. I'm pissed off. I've wasted his time. And we got to drive the awkward 4 miles back to where he dropped me off. And I got out of his truck, slammed the door. He hauled ass off. We haven't talked to each other since. What's my lesson from that? I was not clear about what I was asking for. I told him this building was for sale, but I wasn't clear that I wanted him to go look at it as a buyer. So how often, maybe you'll make the same mistake, but how often do you make the same damn mistake where maybe you're being timid, maybe you're afraid to say, here's what I do, or even asking permission to have a business conversation, right? Because sometimes we spend a lot of effort trying to make friends with people, be friendly with them, so we don't have to, quote, sell them, they'll just buy from us. You know this feeling, right? People with a very high need for approval, like I used to have, that's what we used to think we did, right? You go out and you make friends with people, and then they're just going to like you, and they're just going to buy from you, which, quite frankly, is a fool's errand. It's not scalable. Most people don't need more friends, don't want more friends, and quite frankly, you shouldn't either. You probably have plenty of friends, and as I've said over and over again, if you need more friends, get a dog. I want you to look, I think it's okay to sell to friends. I think there's certain ways to do that. But I think with anybody, when you're having a conversation, warn them that you want to have a business conversation. So for example, right, you've got somebody you're kind of friendly with, you know them, right? And you want to talk to them about business, but somehow you say, hey, let's go to lunch, or hey, let's go grab a beer, with the intent, you're right, I want to go try and sell them something, but in fact, you're just trying to ease in the side door. Here's what I would tell you is much more direct, and it's much more respectful, and it's just a better way to do things, is when you want to talk business, ask permission. Maybe it's on the phone where you say, hey, look, I'd love to visit with you, but also I'd like to have a business conversation. You okay with that? Or, hey, I'd like to go have a beer and catch up. I also want to have a business conversation with you. Okay if we do that? Or if you're in the moment, say, listen, I've enjoyed this, but I really would like to ask you a couple of business questions. You okay if we shift focus for a minute? Let people know what you're about. Let people know why you want to meet. Here's the second variation of that. When you have a sales call, you probably have certain expectations for that sales call. Don't keep them a secret. Let people know. And here's the thing, if you're doing this the right way, you're negotiating at the beginning of the meeting what the whole meeting's about. See, a lot of times we don't even, we just walk in and we just assume that people could read our mind. They know what the deal is and they know how to buy from us. And that's another fool's errand, another waste of everybody's time. If you have the idea that you want to come talk to somebody about something and figure out if there's a next step, let's say the next step is that they, sign a contract. Maybe on the phone when you're setting it up, or certainly at the beginning of the meeting, or both, saying, hey, look, typically in a meeting like this, we're figuring out whether or not you want to buy X, which means you might sign the contract, give me a check. Are you okay if in the next 30 minutes we have a conversation? You ask me anything you want. I've got some questions for you as well. At the end of this, let's decide whether or not you want to buy it. If you do, great. I've got the stuff here for you. If you don't, perfect. You won't hurt my feelings at all. No pressure. Don't play games. Be direct. Be transparent. If there's something that you want, ask for it. Let people know ahead of time. Don't have this long conversation and then jump in and say, so you want to buy it? When they've had no clue, when they weren't ready. I'm Walker McKay with No BS Sales. Manage expectations. Tell people what you're looking for. Get agreement. If they say, no, I don't want to talk business, or no, I'm not willing to sign a contract, I don't want to talk to you about signing a contract, buying something today, then agree to that too. Maybe say, what is something else we could do? Share this with somebody else that needs to hear it. I look forward to talking to you. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to the No BS Sales School podcast. If you're struggling to close deals, then I want to invite you to take my free mini course, where you'll learn the 7 most expensive sales mistakes that will cost you time, money, and credibility. So be sure to click the link in the show notes or go to www.7salesmistakes.com. That's the number 7salesmistakes.com. Thanks again for listening to the No BS Sales School podcast.